Hey everybody, I just got my Spotify Wrapped information last week, and some of the numbers in there started to make me wonder, is genre as relevant as it used to be? Now, one of the things that I noticed was I listened to 117 different genre of music last year. And for me, I find that really exciting and also pretty much on brand because I enjoy all types of music. I love classical, I love rock, I love hip hop, I love jazz, I like EDM. If it's out there and you're an artist creating it and you have something to say with your art, chances are I'm going to find something of value or of interest in the music you're making. And that is amazing to me. And that's one of the things I love about living in the era we do is music discovery is so wide open. Now that being said, most of our musical discovery platforms are still very focused around what style of music you're listening to. So I live in Denver, Colorado. It's a large city in the United States. And we've got, radio stations that are dedicated to classical music, to jazz music, to pop music, to hip hop music, to indie rock music. And if I tune into the jazz station, I'm pretty much going to be hearing jazz all day. I'm not really going to hear anything that's classic rock. Maybe I'll hear something with a little bit of hip hop influence in it. I'm certainly not going to hear EDM music. It's completely focused on jazz. When I listen to Spotify as well, I find that most of the curated playlists are curated around genre. Understanding what a genre is can certainly have some advantages. If I hear that an artist is a particular genre of music, it gives me an expectation of what I'm about to experience. Now, of course, being able to break down things into larger categories has advantages. And in fact, I think it's really kind of hardwired into the way we as humans learn. When we're itty bitty babies, the world is brand new to us. Everything we're seeing and experiencing is brand new. And one of the ways small kids learn and develop their brain is through something called play schemas. So, for example, if you ever see a kid playing with a little toy car, he pushes the car, and then maybe he pushes a little toy truck, and then maybe that same kid tries to push a block. And when you push the block, the kiddo realizes the block doesn't roll, it doesn't move so far. And it doesn't take too long for the brain to start making connections that if you're seeing an object that has four wheels on it, it's going to roll and it's going to be able to move easily and move across a surface easily. And that's really useful for us as humans to build this worldview that has these wheels on the ground. It can be used to move things easily. And that's a much more efficient way for our brains to develop an understanding of the world than if every time we encountered a brand new thing we'd never seen before, we had to relearn what that thing was from the ground up. And so I think genre plays a very similar role for us in our brains. It gives us a framework to understand what we're about to experience and what we should be expecting to experience. Now, part of me is wondering, as useful as genre is it also something that holds us back from discovering different types of music that we might otherwise enjoy? For me, as a music listener and a music fan, some of my favorite artists really don't fit cleanly into any one single box. So some of the artists that I listened to a lot this last year were artists like Club of the Suns or a hip hop artist who used to be known by the name as Disraeli. These artists are really mixing a lot of different styles together and a lot of different elements from a lot of different cultures. And I absolutely love that, but they don't fit cleanly into a single playlist or category or style of music. As fascinating as I find that as someone who's a musician and as someone who's passionate about music, it also comes with some drawbacks because there's so little eclectic music out there that's similar to an artist like Club of the Suns. It's hard to pitch that music to new people. I've run into this challenge in my own music. I can think one of the songs that I released this last year is Bounce, and I love that song. It's great. It's got some hip hop elements, it's got cello in that song, it's got some rock elements, and some almost spoken word poetry elements as well. And I got a lot of feedback from a lot of different playlisters saying, this song is just not rock enough, or it's just not hip hop enough, and it just doesn't fit nicely onto our playlist. It just wasn't easy for playlisters to categorize, and so it didn't get quite as many listens as some of my other music did that fit nicely into a particular genre category. One of the challenges that we face with genre is oftentimes I feel that genre can hold us back. And I can think of a couple of real-time examples of this that I've watched play out in my life. This band Mumford and Sons, they had a massive hit. What was it, 15 years ago? They put out their first album, then another album, and the first few albums had a very, very similar sound, sort of that folk rock stomp clap vibe. And then they eventually moved to a new sound with future albums. And when they did that, they had a really difficult time bringing their existing fan base with them. And some of the subsequent music they put out wasn't as commercially successful as that initial sound. And eventually they sort of circled back to that original sound that made them so commercially successful. Now, I'm not placing any particular value judgment or quality judgment on the type of music they made originally, they made in the middle of their career, they're making currently. But I will say that by being so focused on one single genre, it made it difficult for people who were fans and focused exclusively on that genre to transition with the band and to grow with the band as the band went on to do new things. And in that way, I think genre can be very detrimental. So, what do you think? Do you enjoy listening to diverse music? Do you want to hear a playlist where you'll hear jazz, hip hop, rock, and classical all in the same playlist? I also wonder, how common are my listening interests? My guess is that my listening interests are pretty uncommon. In fact, when I go back and I look at the Spotify rap for the city of Denver, the city I live in, the top 5 artists are all names you've probably heard of. There's names in there like Taylor Swift, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, artists who are big time commercial successes and who are going to fit pretty nicely into a particular category of radio play or style of radio play. Most of the artists that I'm really listening to don't fit nicely or cleanly into a single style. So, what do you think? Is genre dead? Or is genre still relevant in 2025? Well, for me, the answer is yes. Genre still has a place. Genre is still relevant. But I do not want to trust all of my music discovery based on genre alone. I'm really glad you came out here with me today and we got to just sit down and talk a little bit about music genre. Anytime I get to talk about music and be around music and experience music, it's a good day. And whether we agree on genre and its relevancy or not, I'm really glad you're here. I'm glad you're engaging in this process. And I hope that something I said maybe expanded your mind a little bit or made your world a little more meaningful this afternoon. Go listen to some music or go play some music. Have an awesome day.